Newcastle United hosting Liverpool in the penultimate match of this opening Premier League weekend. Two sides who both have a new manager who'll be wanting to put down an early marker of how they've changed things as they've come into their new sides. Both sides have had a couple friendlies of recent note. I mean, Liverpool have actually made no changes from their 2-0 win over Como last Sunday. Meanwhile, only Dedic of Newcastle hasn't featured in the last 8 or so days, with the other 10 players playing either against Leverkusen or Strasbourg. In fact, 9 of them playing against Bayer Leverkusen, and only Asula who played against Strasbourg a week ago today. So the lineup's in full. For Newcastle, it's named as a 4-4-2. In goal, it's Lukas Hornicek, a back four of Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, Malik Chow and Amar Dedic. Midfield four of Harvey Barnes, Sean Stewart, Lewis Miley and Anthony Alanga, with Johan Witter partnering William Asula up front. And for Liverpool, it's a 4-2-3-1, so Andoni Iraola not changing anything too tactically from his predecessor, Arne Slot, and the preferred formation he played, of course, at Bournemouth. So they're down as a 4-2-3-1 with Alisson in goal, Milos Kerkez, captain Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong the back four. Ryan Gravenberch partners Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, with Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz and Rio Gamoa behind striker Alexander Isak. So it's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool, kick-off shortly approaching. It's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool in the penultimate match of this opening Premier League weekend. Two sides who both have a new manager who'll be wanting to put down an early marker of how they've changed things as they've come into their new sides. Both sides have had a couple friendlies of recent note. I mean, Liverpool have actually made no changes from their 2-0 win over Como last Sunday. Meanwhile, only Dedic of Newcastle hasn't featured in the last 8 or so days, with the other 10 players playing either against Leverkusen or Strasbourg. In fact, 9 of them playing against Bayer Leverkusen, and only Asula who played against Strasbourg a week ago today. So the lineup's in full. For Newcastle, it's named as a 4-4-2. In goal, it's Lukas Hornicek, a back four of Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, Malik Chow and Amar Dedic. Midfield four of Harvey Barnes, Sean Stewart, Lewis Miley and Anthony Alanga, with Johan Witter partnering William Asula up front. And for Liverpool, it's a 4-2-3-1, so Andoni Iraola not changing anything too tactically from his predecessor, Arne Slot, and the preferred formation he played, of course, at Bournemouth. So they're down as a 4-2-3-1 with Alisson in goal, Milos Kerkez, captain Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong the back four. Ryan Gravenberch partners Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, with Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz and Rio Gamoa behind striker Alexander Isak. So it's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool, kick-off shortly approaching. It's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool in the penultimate match of this opening Premier League weekend. Two sides who both have a new manager who'll be wanting to put down an early marker of how they've changed things as they've come into their new sides. Both sides have had a couple friendlies of recent note. So Andoni Iraola not changing anything too tactically from his predecessor, Arne Slot, and the preferred formation he played, of course, at Bournemouth. So they're down as a 4-2-3-1 with Alisson in goal, Milos Kerkez, captain Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong the back four. Ryan Gravenberch partners Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, with Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz and Rio Gamoa behind striker Alexander Isak. So it's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool, kick-off shortly approaching. It's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool in the penultimate match of this opening Premier League weekend. Two sides who both have a new manager who'll be wanting to put down an early marker of how they've changed things as they've come into their new sides. Both sides have had a couple friendlies of recent note. I mean, Liverpool have actually made no changes from their 2-0 win over Como last Sunday. Meanwhile, only Amar Dedic of Newcastle hasn't featured in the last 8 or so days, with the other 10 players playing either against Leverkusen or Strasbourg. In fact, 9 of them playing against Bayer Leverkusen, and only Asula who played against Strasbourg a week ago today. So the lineup's in full. For Newcastle, it's named as a 4-4-2. In goal, it's Lukas Hornicek, a back four of Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, Malik Chow and Amar Dedic. Midfield four of Harvey Barnes, Sean Stewart, Lewis Miley and Anthony Alanga, with Johan Witter partnering William Asula up front. And for Liverpool, it's a 4-2-3-1, so Andoni Iraola not changing anything too tactically from his predecessor, Arne Slot, and the preferred formation he played, of course, at Bournemouth. So they're down as a 4-2-3-1 with Alisson in goal, Milos Kerkez, captain Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong the back four. Ryan Gravenberch partners Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, with Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz and Rio Ngamoa behind striker Alexander Isak. So it's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool, kick-off shortly approaching. It's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool in the penultimate match of this opening Premier League weekend. Two sides who both have a new manager who'll be wanting to put down an early marker of how they've changed things as they've come into their new sides. Both sides have had a couple friendlies of recent note. I mean, Liverpool have actually made no changes from their 2-0 win over Como last Sunday. Meanwhile, only Amar Dedic of Newcastle hasn't featured in the last 8 or so days, with the other 10 players playing either against Leverkusen or Strasbourg. In fact, 9 of them playing against Bayer Leverkusen, and only Asula who played against Strasbourg a week ago today. So the lineup's in full. For Newcastle, it's named as a 4-4-2. In goal, it's Lukas Hornicek, a back four of Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, Malik Chow and Amar Dedic. Midfield four of Harvey Barnes, Sean Stewart, Lewis Miley and Anthony Alanga, with Johan Witter partnering William Asula up front. And for Liverpool, it's a 4-2-3-1, so Andoni Iraola not changing anything too tactically from his predecessor, Arne Slot, and the preferred formation he played, of course, at Bournemouth. So they're down as a 4-2-3-1 with Alisson in goal, Milos Kerkez, captain Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong the back four. Ryan Gravenberch partners Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, with Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz and Rio Ngamoa behind striker Alexander Isak. So it's Newcastle United hosting Liverpool, kick-off shortly approaching. And we'll leave that there as Isak, formerly of Newcastle of course, is about to kick things off for Liverpool. Gravenberch straight away trying to get up the field, but Szoboszlai's pass back to Gravenberch was loose and claimed for handball from Asula, which is given. So pretty fast pace straight away between these two sides, Liverpool and Newcastle United. It's myself, Kieran Shelley and Charlie O'Brien to bring you through the next 90 minutes of unofficial off-tube studio-based commentary. Second to last match of this first weekend of Premier League football this season. And for Newcastle, it's starting with a free kick. And they're going to aim directly into the box. Lewis Hall over it. Got a short option in Barnes and Botman as well. But goes into the box. It's headed on towards goal by, I think that was Lewis Miley, the youngster. Straight into the hands of Alisson, the Brazilian goalkeeper, though. Both these sides were in action last week. Newcastle actually twice in 2 days. They had Bayer Leverkusen last Saturday and then Strasbourg on the Sunday. 9 of the starting players this afternoon played against Leverkusen, and just Asula who played against Strasbourg, with Amar Dedic the only player who didn't feature for them last weekend. Liverpool, meanwhile, were victorious against Como last Sunday. It's the exact same starting 11 for them, but victorious in that one at Anfield. So it's actually Newcastle's third game in a row in 2 weekends. We'll bring you the full lineups, but for now, Cody Gakpo's down the left-hand side for Liverpool. He's got Milos Kerkez as an option. Florian Wirtz into the box, takes a shot, well blocked by Lewis Hall. And Frimpong trying to win the ball back high up the pitch for Liverpool. Has been cleared away though. And Jacquet comes across to make sure he gets there ahead of Asula. So it will be a throw-in for Newcastle. Jacquet thinking he's been fouled. So the lineups firstly for Newcastle. Matthias Jaisler has given his team a 4-2-3-1 formation, not the 4-3-3 we thought it was originally. So it's Lukas Hornicek in goal. There's a back four of Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, captain Malik Chow and Amar Dedic. Midfield two of Lewis Miley and Sean Stewart. At the base of midfield, Harvey Barnes, Johan Visser and Anthony Elanga behind striker William Asula. And then for Liverpool, it's also a 4-2-3-1 formation from Iraola. Alisson in goal, back four of Milos Kerkez, captain Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong. Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai at the base of midfield, Cody Gakpo, Florian Wirtz and Rio Ngamoa behind Alexander Isak. Isak, of course, who had 4 months out last season with a leg injury. Never really found the form he found, of course, at Newcastle, at St James's Park the season before, where he was one of the best strikers in the league and earned his £125 million move to the Reds. Newcastle, who've had some more, I would say, transfer trouble, but really it's their own business that's led to them a slightly weaker team on paper as this season begins. No Bruno Guimaraes, of course, as he's joined Arsenal. No Tonali, as he's also gone to North London to join Spurs, amongst others, to say the least. Anthony Gordon, of course, going to Barcelona very early in the window. And Ngamoa now up against Lewis Hall, who is one of the players they've managed to keep despite interest from a lot of big clubs in the Premier League. Frimpong back to Jacquet, who is the only new Liverpool signing in the starting 11 for the Reds. Gravenberch now driving through midfield. He might have a chance to shoot, but instead goes infield looking for Alexander Isak. Not to be, though. And there's now a real chance to break for Newcastle. Asula, space for Elanga. Elanga might be one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Here he is at a tight angle. Takes his shot low, and Newcastle have the lead at St James's Park. Anthony Elanga with the goal. A brilliant break from William Asula. It looked like Liverpool had a great opportunity themselves at the top of the pitch, but inside 5 minutes, Newcastle have the lead.
Yeah, it all came from a poor decision up top from Ryan Gravenberch. He'd made a great bursting run through the midfield and it opened up for a shot for him, but instead he tried a crossfield ball that just wasn't really on, ended up giving it away, and then I was just absolute blindsided after that from a Liverpool perspective. It was just 2-3 passes and all of a sudden Newcastle were through. The new manager Matthias Jassel is known for his front foot attacking play, directness, and we saw exactly that. It was Asula who did brilliantly to pick up the ball, carry it forwards, just play the simple pass but the right pass threaded through to Anthony Elanga. The Swede makes absolutely no mistake burying that one in the bottom corner, and what a start. St James's Park, I'm sure, is rocking after that. You see the reaction of the new manager as well. Double fist pump, faces his crowd. What a start to the season for Newcastle United.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Inside 5 minutes, a quick goal. Classic breakaway, really. Asula carrying the ball almost 50 yards before playing in Elanga, who had the pace on Kerkez and put it past Alisson from a slight angle. It's a great start to the season for Elanga in particular, who was patchy last season for Newcastle. Never really found his best form. I think not really hit his ceiling yet. Of course, came through as a youngster under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United before his move to Forest, where he was there for two or three full seasons. Again, never really blossomed into the winger that people thought he could when he was a teenager, but that's where he's at his best, Elanga. I mean, he has got raw pace, one of the quickest wingers in the league. Like I say, on a counter-attack like that, there isn't many better that you want the ball to be played to.
Absolutely not, and I know what you mean about maybe not hitting quite the heights that we thought, but he has been an excellent player for a few years now. At Nottingham Forest, he was absolutely brilliant, instrumental in keeping them, first of all, in the Premier League and then pushing up the division. And I think for Newcastle, maybe not shone as much so far, but it's been a Newcastle side in transition pretty much the entire time that he's been there. Maybe under a new manager, especially, as I say, someone who wants to play a direct attacking style, he could really flourish.
No, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai to Wirtz, who's managed to find Frimpong, who can cross low. It's not a bad ball to Isak, but it was just behind him and no one else following it up. It was Kerkez and Szoboszlai interested. Verts has it again, maybe a chance to cross. He's looking to go behind the defence for Isak, but cleared by Botman. And then Barnes clatters into Verts. That's definitely going to be a foul. Silly, really, from the English winger. Verts in a little bit of pain, as he was bundled into, to say the least, from Barnes. That being said, Verts is looking at the man, not going for the ball. I think he knows what he's doing, Verts. He's trying to draw the foul, but Barnes nowhere near the ball himself. Free kick for Liverpool in a good area. Szoboszlai, who's prolific at free kicks, mainly known for scoring them rather than delivering them, but will have a chance to do so now. Newcastle line in line with the penalty spot, 12 yards out. See what they can do from this free kick. It's towards the back post. It's a good ball. Van Dijk's in there and interested. It will be a corner for Liverpool.
Yeah, good delivery from Szoboszlai. As you say, more of a goal scorer from those kind of positions, but that was just a perfect delivery, really, onto the head of Van Dijk, off his own shoulder. Just about. She didn't necessarily see the deflection there. It might have been the double deflection off Van Dijk sort of tricked the referee, or maybe it just flicked a Newcastle defender after that point.
Ball into the box again from Szoboszlai, then headed away by Lewis Hall, collected by Verts, who goes across to Kerkez. Kerkez to Szoboszlai once more. He crosses it again into the box. It's not a bad ball, but no one there for it, although it's fallen to Gravenberch, who might get a second bite at the cherry after Chow blocks his first effort. Now an opportunity for Dedic to try and get the ball away on that right hand side. Dedic, who impressed at the World Cup for Bosnia, and his move to the northeast of England. Gary Hakpo just not agreeing with the decision there. Dedic was at Benfica last season, played 25 times at fullback for them. Of course, under Jose Mourinho that season. And again, Alanga's showing his pace down the right hand side. Physical battle with Milos Kerkez, who's gone down holding his face for some reason. It did look like a foul from Alanga as they were both trying to get back up. I'm not sure where the contact on Kerkez's head has come from. Sula's consoling him somewhat. I'm not sure if it was just an accidental knock as Ursula came in to try and win the ball. It was a physical battle between the two. Both ended up on the floor, and I think Alanga, definitely prevented Kerkez from getting up. Clearly beating him for pace, though, Alanga. Oh yeah, and you can just see as Ursula's trying to win the ball, he does catch Kerkez on the head, but certainly accidental. Kerkez, of course, played under Areola for a short while at Bournemouth before getting his move to Liverpool last summer. Big summer for Liverpool. Really poor showing, all things considered, the way they did reinforce last summer at both fullback, attacking midfield, and of course striker. Last season spent almost £400 million, I think, that summer, Liverpool.
It's an interesting one, the Kerkez Areola, because he really didn't have a very strong start to his Liverpool career, but maybe Areola is exactly the man he needs to get the best out of him. And with Andy Robertson out of the picture, of course, there's a lot more onus on Kerkez.
Ball into the box for Harvey Barnes, who's trying to play it across the box with the outside of his foot. Witter, who's playing as the number 10 for Newcastle, dropped to the edge of the box to get on the ball. Now opportunity for Newcastle to start again from deep. Chow's going to go long, looking for, it's not obvious which one he's looking for, can only assume Ursula. Alisson's come out to head the ball. I think it's adjudged that Ursula fouled him. Ursula seems to be in a little bit of pain after that collision. It's a good ball actually from Chow. Alisson comes out into Ursula, who has been judged to have fouled the keeper.
It didn't matter because it was a foul, but it's a slightly terrible effort running back in from Visser. Obviously it's not going to be easy to first time side foot volley the ball in from 40 yards, but the keeper was out of the box and he managed to shin it somehow for a throw in. Visser's someone who's got a lot of Newcastle fans to convince, I think. After a really poor first season, I think a lot of people wanted him sold already. With the sales that have been made, his role has just become even more important, really, in this Newcastle side. So, let's see if he can turn it around this season.
Here comes Ungamoa trying to keep the ball in, but that'll go out for Newcastle's first goal kick of the match, actually. 12.5 minutes, or 13 minutes into the game. It's a really good it's Dedic, actually, who clears the ball forward for Osula, and Osula does everything right, really. I'm wondering if an Alisson of 3 or 4 years ago might save this shot, to be honest. I mean, it's good, it's low, into the corner of the net, not necessarily into the side netting.
Yeah, maybe you just want him to be a little bit further towards the far post there. He was very close to that near post.
He was very tight to the near post, so the angle wasn't that sharp. Probably about 45 degrees to the side netting. Might be a chance now for Frimpong to get forward, but dispossessed by Hall, who gets his head up thinking about another counter-attack for Liverpool. Ball's going to be played over to Alanga, who can't keep it in. So it will roll out for a throw-in for Liverpool. In the far corner, Kirkes to take. Statistics for Newcastle last season. They did actually endure 7 defeats when scoring first last season, which was the most of any team. So obviously be wanting to leave that as a statistic from last season, not build on that in any way this year. Did win 23 of their matches. That being said, not many draws, so there's always a result, so to speak. Ball forward, then Isak wins the header. Ball's then allowed to bounce, which gives Miley a chance to get there ahead of Wirtz. Now some space for Stewart. He's going to go over the top looking for Alanga, but that's definitely overhit and into the hands of Alisson. Will take the ball gladly and regain possession for Liverpool. It feels like I've had a vast majority of the ball. Yeah, 71% of the ball the away side have had. Just mustered up 3 shots so far, though. All of them blocked, incidentally. Check not actually been called into action in the opening 15 minutes so far. Dedic coming forward on the right hand side, sharing the ball with Alanga. Back though to Botman, trying to be a little more sensible on the ball are the Magpies. Hall on the left hand side. Puts the ball back to Botman. And Hornacek inside his own box. Chow across to Stewart, who's dropped in as an extra centre half already, just giving Hall and Dedic licence to get forward. Poor pass to Elanga, though, sees Hakpo pick up on the ball, and now there might be some space for Ungamoa on the right hand side, although Hall is checking back to put pressure on him. Across to Frimpong. Now Isak. Szoboszlai. Newcastle making it difficult for Liverpool to get forward, using all 10 outfield players to defend with. Force them all the way back to their goalkeeper Alisson. Now Jacquet. Sula's been forced out, so there might be a little bit more space for Liverpool, particularly in wide areas. Jacquet still driving forward. Nice ball over to Ungamoa on the right hand side, up against Lewis Hall. Wants to get into the box. Chips a ball towards the back post. Isak can't get to it, but Dedic doesn't clear it away, which gives the Swede a chance to get on the ball on that left hand side. Trying to take on the Bosnian. He's a fellow Swede behind him trying to win the ball, and Kirkes with a low ball into the box. It's blocked, but Wirtz will take the shot. It's a decent save from Hornacek down to his left-hand side. First corner of the match for Liverpool.
Yeah, and the first real involvement in a Newcastle shirt for Hornacek, and he's up for the challenge there. Would have been a slightly fortuitous goal, just in the sense that it's just a really bungled clearance from Chior. Just bounces perfectly up for Wirtz. It's not a bad effort with his first touch, and it's just a really good save, low down to his left.
Ball comes into the box from Szoboszlai. Van Dijk goes down, thinking he's been fouled. Kirkes puts her over the goal for 3 points. So Hornacek will resume from the goal kick. Yeah, it's a good save from Hornacek. One you'd probably expect him to make, but it was low between a couple of bodies. So impressive enough nonetheless to get down with his left hand. Ball forward to Van Dijk. Plays it back to his goalkeeper Alisson. Newcastle have the ball back in the defensive area. Hornacek just waiting for any sign of a press from Liverpool, which doesn't seem to be coming as of yet. Just being patient with the ball in their own half, Newcastle. They want Liverpool to come to them, want to try and find gaps, but Liverpool are being quite sensible in the way that they press. Hall, it's been won back by Gravenberch, forward to Isak. Plays a loose pass into Szoboszlai, so Hall plays the ball to Steer. Also plays a poor pass into midfield. Kirkes winning it. I think Szoboszlai's come under a bit of pain as there's a tackle in from behind, and then a foul against Visser from Milos Kirkes. Newcastle initially being patient, but then a couple poor passes, giving the ball away in their own half.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit quiet for Newcastle since that goal. I mean, it was very much against the run of play anyway, but a case of just going back down for now. Liverpool haven't been particularly incisive, even though they've had much more of the possession. It should be a test of Newcastle's resolve. It's one of many much changed lineups, really. And to be honest, one of quite a few, I would say arguably weakened lineups on paper is this Newcastle team. It's a slightly rejigged defence, but they've had a good opening 20 minutes, it's fair to say.
20 minutes have now been played. It's a free kick given away by Johan Visser. It's Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 after 20 minutes. Thanks to Anthony Elanga's goal after 5. A quick counter-attack from Newcastle. Liverpool have, you'd say, been the better team, definitely created more chances. Only worked the goalkeeper once though so far. Hakpo with an overlapping ball to Kirkes. Kirkes in low. Hornacek does well to get the ball away, and then it's cleared by Visser inside his own box. Alisson will collect. Good work from the Czech goalkeeper to make sure that ball didn't fall to anyone in red in the box. Szoboszlai far out, thought about maybe lining up a shot, instead chips the ball over to Ungamo on the right hand side, who turns away nicely from Barnes, but good strength from Lewis Hall to keep the ball, using Barnes in a defensive position. Botman then can clear, header won by Jacquet, but only falls to Visser, and there might be a chance now for Newcastle to break again, but Visser's been forced backwards. He thinks he's been fouled, but Newcastle continue with possession. Stewart, a midfielder, but definitely playing as an extra centre-back really when they're on the ball inside their own half for Newcastle, just giving Dedic and Hall a chance to get forward, so somewhat a back five on the ball. Miley standing fairly deep as well. Nice ball over from him to Dedic, who's going to get there first. Kirkes interested. Dedic into the box now, 1v1 with Kirkes, thinks about the shot, takes it on off of the Hungarian defender and out for a corner.
Yeah, good work there from Dedic. He's having a good Premier League debut so far. Kirkes tracks him all the way though. gets the block in. Sliding effort. He's probably someone maybe you could accuse of sliding in a little bit too often. Kirk is quite an excitable defender, but there's no doubt that was the right move in that situation, even though he was in the box.
So it's a corner kick for Newcastle. Second of the match. Liverpool conceded the joint most goals from corners last season in 20. Ball into the box then from Hall. It's a good header away from Cody Hakpo. It's collected then by Dedic across to Harvey Barnes, who sort of miscontrols the ball but has it ahead of Frimpong now nonetheless. Dutchman trying to win the ball but failing to do so now. Dedic once more with a poor pass forward, but then it's a loose ball for Liverpool, which takes a touch off of a Newcastle man, and now they can resume possession, the home side. Botman, Hall, back to Botman, going down the line looking for Barnes, who's not really been in the game at all in the opening 23 minutes. Harvey Barnes not nowhere near as much as he'd like, that's for sure. Alexander Isak's down holding his left ankle, I believe, after a challenge that he believes should have been a foul. Nice ball through, looking for Osula from Visser. Through on goal was Osula, couldn't quite get a clear shot off. Visser claiming he was fouled. Osula's holding his left Achilles, didn't look like a foul at all. Alisson did enough, like I say, no clear shot that Osula got in the end. But Alisson did make somewhat of a save, bundling towards goal, and Osula couldn't get on the end of it once more. Really nice passing behind of Jacquet from Visser though.
Yeah, lovely, nice disguise on it from Visser. So it was knocked through. Osula hurt himself. I think it was actually because he was lying flat on his back and then tried to stretch his right foot out to get some kind of touch in it. I mean, I don't know what he would have done had he managed to get the ball into some form of control, but I think in the process he stretched himself out a little bit too far, and that's why he was holding his heel.
Now a chance for Liverpool to come forward once more. Szoboszlai, he feels like he's been pulled from behind by Visser, and he has, so that'll be a yellow card for the DR Congo international. It's a silly one really. I'm not sure there's loads in it, but he does put his arms on the back of Szoboszlai, asking for the referee to get his card out really. 25 minutes played, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0. This is through to half time, will be Charlie.
Thanks Kieran. So yeah, Newcastle's opening 25 minutes, no doubts about it, even though Liverpool have enjoyed the lion's share of possession. It's obviously something they did most of the time under former boss Arne Slot as well. Often didn't convert into the results that they wanted, particularly, as Kieran just said, due to issues from set pieces. It's actually been a Route 1 counter-attack that's undone them today. Anga opening the scoring. Thanks to Dedic and Osula helping him out. Szoboszlai is going to shoot from this one. It's going to be probably a knuckleball attempt, I think, from how straight the run-up is. Shot comes in, hits the wall. It's always going to be ambitious from that range. You need to put a lot of power on it, which he did, but couldn't get that lift and drop. Newcastle win the ball back, and they've sent Osula running again now. He's closing down on Frimpong. He's got Jacquet for company now. He manages to get it off to Elanga, just to play it out to Barnes with a little bit too much on it, and Barnes has to then go into the tackle with Szoboszlai, who wins out. It's enough of a touch in it to deflect it away for a throw-in that he will take. Osula looks like he's still struggling. I don't know if that's the same issue as before.
Looks like he's limping on that left ankle again.
Could be a problem for Magpies. Gravenberch now in possession, carrying it forwards, finds Wirtz, lays it off to Gakpo, who shoots from the edge of the area, blocked by the first man. Florian Wirtz back under with the ball. Kerkez finds Gakpo, looking for options, plays a 1-2 with Kerkez, gets the ball into the box, and Gamoa at the back stick is the nearest, but It's dealt with by Hall. Frimpong is now scrapping on the edge of the box, but he's dispossessed. It's rolled out only as far as Van Dijk, though. Szoboszlai under control. Line breaking pass to Frimpong. His first touch on the half turn just wasn't good enough. The ball's cleared away, but once more only as far as the big man back there, Virgil van Dijk. Once again lays off to Szoboszlai. So much of Liverpool's creative play in that midfield comes through. Influential Hungarian these days. Spreads it out wide to Gakpo on the left hand side. He takes it to the byline, tries to beat his man. He's unable to do so. Elanga back under possession of the ball, plays forward early. Once again, third time in a row, the attempted clearance is cut out by Van Dijk, and Liverpool can just keep coming. No let up for Newcastle. 51% of the ball possession has been in Newcastle's defensive third in the last 10 minutes. Ngamoa tries to play it low into the box, and it's cut out by Botman. And then Miley is brought down, and finally there'll be some let up for Newcastle with a free kick.
Yeah, nice feat from Miley to take the ball away from two Liverpool players and win the free kick. You can see Nick Voltemade warming up on the sideline. He would be the obvious replacement for Osula unless Visser was to go up front and they brought on another attacking midfielder, perhaps in Joe Willock or Jacob Ramsey or even Jacob Murphy.
Shot comes in from Kerkez, about 30 yards from goal. It's kind of dealt with well enough by Hornicek and called up on the second occasion. It's an interesting one with Osula that he was actually preferred to Voltemade at all. He was brought in 2024 very much, I think, as a backup, or definitely became that at least, to Alexander Isak. And I think certainly Voltemade was Eddie Howe's first choice in that position last season, as we're going to see a yellow card brandished to Milos Kerkez. But yeah, clearly Osula preferred by new boss Matthias Jossel at the start of the season. See replay of that yellow card. Kerkez somewhat cynical, pushing the goal scorer Antti Elanga to the ground, and gets in the book.
Yeah, a little bit silly from Kerkez, just too excited to try and win the ball, if you like.
Brilliant first touch from Harvey Barnes. Moves inside. Frimpong is trying to get back at him, and he can't do so without giving away a foul in a dangerous area, and it's another yellow card for Frimpong. That one looked a little bit more debatable, shall we say, than Milos Kerkez's a moment ago, but it means within the space of a minute both Liverpool fullbacks have got in the book, which I'm sure if you're Anthony Elanga and Harvey Barnes is music to your ears.
Yeah, they'll be licking their lips now, won't they? Especially Elanga up against Kerkez, who's had him once or twice already. Yeah, Frimpong initially pulls back Barnes, not too cynically, and then trips him from behind. Maybe a harsh yellow card in truth, because Barnes also had a bit of Frimpong's shirt. There's 5 players around this ball. Visser's walked away from it. I think it's Osula who's lining up the shot. Elanga and Dedic have now left Hall and Osula to it, so it'll be Hall, the left-footed option, which you think would be the more conventional choice over the wall. Osula is also stood over it, though, interested. Tonali tended to take most of their free kicks when he was in the squad. Olga Maresh between them. Lewis Hall normally a deliverer of the ball. I think Osula might be eyeing this one up. Alisson very central, though.
Does look like it's going to be Osula to strike with the right boot, and it is, and he, just like Szoboszlai, hits the wall, comes back to him, shot comes in, deflected away for a corner off the boot of Szoboszlai. That might have been going out for a goal kick had there been no intervention, but Szoboszlai decided that he couldn't take that risk.
Yeah, so another opportunity from the corner ball for Newcastle. It'll be their third of the match in terms of corners amassed now.
And the ball is going to come in from Lewis Hall this time. It's dealt with by the Liverpool defender, but back to Hall. Wirtz, good work back there, managing to snatch the ball off the young left back, and it sticks to him like glue as well, and he's able to get Isak going forwards into space. Isak with a ball across, which is a little bit too far behind both Frimpong and Gakpo, but Frimpong gets to it, and then unfurls a pretty dreadful shot from about 30 yards out. Newcastle can come away with it. I mean, he's like arguably the story of this game. He was injured for much of last season, so this is actually the first time he will have faced Newcastle as a Liverpool player, but he's been pretty anonymous so far, it's fair to say.
Yeah, not seen much of him as of yet. I think some of Liverpool's deliveries into the box have been shocking, though, to be honest. Most recently, Frimpong's attempted ball just then. Might be a chance now for Wirtz at the byline. Has he won a corner? Nope. Goal kick, the referee says.
So it'll be another goal kick for Hornicek to take. Liverpool are a team chasing consistency this season, you feel. Last season under Arne Slot, they endured both the third best winning streak and the fifth worst losing streak, which is quite impressive to pull off in one season. They went through some really lean periods before actually kind of turning it around and being second only to Villa and Man City for portions of the season. While Arsenal were having their slight mini wobble before recovering to walk to the Premier League title. Another yellow card now. This time for a Newcastle United player.
It was Miley, wasn't it?
Smiley, Gravenberch on the spin, and he just stamps unintentionally but unequivocally on the left boot of Gravenberch. He becomes the latest in the book, so 2 apiece now on the yellow cards, and 2 in that midfield area for Newcastle, which I'd say is as much of a worry, if not more, than the 2 fullbacks of Liverpool. Ball swung in by Szoboszlai. It's dealt with well enough by Newcastle. Milos Kerkez is battling with Johan Wissa, who manages to get the ball away for a throw-in, and no sign of emotion there from Wissa. It's clearly someone still trying to win over the St James's Park faithful. If he keeps putting in 110% like he has done so far today, he will certainly achieve that. Liverpool, when you think about the level of transition that some of the teams are in this season, Liverpool's maybe doesn't seem that bad, especially, as Kieran said, fairly minimal work so far done in the transfer window. Only 1 new signing starting, the other ones being Victor Munoz and Ronald Araujo on loan, just sort of as defensive cover more than anything. Down the left hand side to Osula, but he just overran himself a little bit there, and it's easy work for Van Dijk to come in. But then when you look at who they've got rid of, okay, Curtis Jones, never really been a starter for them, but he's the only money that they've generated this window, £26 million to Inter, and then they've lost Konate, Salah and Robertson, all on free transfers. 3 starters, I think, pretty unquestionably by the end of last season. And of course Mohamed Salah, one of the greatest to ever pull on the shirt for the Reds. So no doubt that there's a lot of work for Andoni Iraola to do, but also perhaps his opportunity to stamp his own authority on the team in a way that I don't think Arne Slot ever had the opportunity to do, given the fact that he was very much sort of told, or it certainly seemed like people thought that title that he did win was Klopp's title. Really, it was Klopp's team. He had 1 season and £400 million to make his team, and then when they didn't find instant success, he was out of the door. So Iraola, with a lot of talent to work with, and if he's not necessarily overseen their arrival into the club. Lewis Hall is on the ball at the halfway line, clips it out to Lewis Miley. He's going to play it through to Harvey Barnes, but he barges Jeremy Frimpong, attempting to get on the end of that one, and it will be out for a Liverpool goal kick, which curiously will be taken by Virgil van Dijk. Such a more common thing, but he does go long. I think that'll be Alisson's job. He's trying to find Gakpo on the left-hand side. Ryan Gravenberch runs it well in midfield, barrels forwards. Florian Wirtz now, left-hand side of the box, cuts inside. Needlessly lofted ball to Szoboszlai at the edge of the box. He's back with Szoboszlai via Gravenberch. Frimpong spreads it out to Ngamoa. Just Rio, the number 73 on his back. Plays it back to Frimpong. It's again not a great ball, but it takes a deflection on the way through. And Dedic take no risk at the back post, knocks it away for a Liverpool corner.
Yeah, so it'll be another corner for Liverpool, third of the match. A chance to get the ball into the box and put some pressure on Newcastle with just over 7 minutes left to go.
Virgil van Dijk strolling up for this one. It is whipped into the near post from Szoboszlai. The header comes from Botman in the end. Just about does enough. I think it actually maybe came off the chest. That's Sven Botman. Let's have another look. It kind of bounces off him more than anything, but he does manage to do it, get it away in the end. So try that one again. Szoboszlai headed away at the near post this time by Dedic. Florian Wirtz. Can he get the ball back into the area? No. Plays it instead centrally to Gravenberch, who tries to find Alexander Isak, takes a deflection on the way through and is collected by Hornicek. Liverpool haven't lost any of their last 9 Premier League games against Newcastle at St James's Park. So if they were to turn this one around, it would equal the longest unbeaten run by a team away to Newcastle here. 10 games by Manchester City across 10 years. Currently holds that record. Played back to Alanga. Lewis Miley. The ball then shepherded out of play. Of course, I think when I think back to that run of victories for Liverpool, they stabbed the ball forward here. Probably the one that stands out is that Darwin Núñez late double to snatch a win for his side. But yeah, certainly against the form book, shall we say, so far this first half.
Yeah, to say the least, really. And Liverpool have definitely been the better side. That being said, Newcastle have defended well, made it hard for them to have any clear-cut chances. You'd say only once should they've potentially scored, and that's the Wirtz opportunity that was saved by Hornicek. I believe it might be his only save still, but they're coming forward again now. Shot from range from Gravenberch. Another one blocked. I think the vast majority of Liverpool's shots in this opening half have been blocked, so it's good work from the Newcastle defence.
Passionate stuff so far from Newcastle in their own half. Gravenberch's picked the ball up on several occasions though. He's been handy in that regard. Dan Burn watching on. I'm guessing his son behind him. He's currently absent, as is Joel Linton. Not expected back till early September. Tino Livramento still struggling with that calf issue that ruled him out of the World Cup. Joe Willock as well, a growing problem. Speaking about the World Cup, Thomas Tuchel is in attendance at St James's Park today. Ball pumped forward by Newcastle is headed away by Virgil van Dijk. Alexander Isak chasing down on a loose one. Florian Wirtz now picking it up in midfield. He's got Stir for company. Stir manages to shepherd it out of play for a Newcastle throw-in. Interestingly as well, 198 or now 199 goals scored in this fixture now between Newcastle and Liverpool. So one more goal in this game. It'll be the third fixture to reach 200 goals in the Premier League after Liverpool versus Tottenham and Arsenal versus Tottenham. And I won't say anything about the fact that Tottenham are in both of those. Gravenberch is fouled by Visser in the centre of the park. He's on a yellow, of course. I think it was bad enough of it. Challenge to constitute a second, but he's got to be careful in there, does Visser?
Yeah, it's a silly little trip, really. unnecessary in truth. I'm not sure he particularly needed to do that.
It's like to the jacket. Frimpong dispossessed. A little bit ragged in this first half so far. Lewis Miley lays it off to Elanga, who's bodied by Gravenberch. He's a little bit winded by that one. It was Gakpo actually. He was saying it was shoulder to shoulder.
I don't think there was much in it, to be honest. I think that's quite fortunate for Elanga to win that foul.
Yeah, just good strength showed from Cody Gakpo, but maybe he's running back towards his own goal. That was perhaps what worked against him. Of course, we want to talk about teams in transition, then Newcastle has certainly that. They've raised £240 million in sales this summer, but unfortunately due to FFP it seems like much of that won't be reinvested. Even more impressive is that they've done that in just three sales. Gordon, Guimaraes, Tonali. They're enjoying a very positive start to life in the Matthias Jaslet so far. 43 minutes gone in this one, and a 1-0 lead, which Anthony Elanga earned for his side just 5 minutes into the contest. Is all that separates the two teams so far. Here is Elanga on the ball now, spins Gravenberch, tries to dink it in with his right foot. It's headed away by Gravenberch. Shot comes in, slash cross from Visser. It's kind of one nor the other in the end, and Harvey Barnes couldn't get on the end of it. But still, I have to say, certainly in the last 15 minutes or so, Newcastle just started to look increasingly comfortable.
Yeah, they have done. Liverpool's pressure just starting to dwindle away. Nothing too fierce from them in the last 5 minutes or so. On the ball again in an attacking area though with Isak. That's a cynical foul from Chow, I think it was. It might be a yellow card as well for him.
No indication of the card from Stuart Atwell, who's been busy already. Averages 4.4 yellow cards a match, which is above the average. He's already dished out 4 in this first half. So Virgil van Dijk once again encroaching forwards for this free kick taken by Szoboszlai. It's probably his worst delivery of the half. Just go out for Liverpool throw-in though, which Szoboszlai himself takes quickly. Just 1 added minute as the ball's launched into the area. Cody Gakpo looked like he didn't really try and win that header. Slightly strange from the big attacker. Sven Botman is down, clutching his, say, right glute. I don't know if he took a bit of contact or just overextended there. Let's have another look. Yeah, he just got a little barge from Gakpo. That's why Gakpo didn't attempt the header. But it definitely didn't look like enough contact to cause someone to be rolling around on the floor for quite that long. That will probably mean that we've approached the end of this first half. It's been an intriguing one that Newcastle will be very happy with. Ball's launched down the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes wins a good header, gets it back. Headed 1-2 from Lewis Miley, but he can't quite get on the end of it. Now Wirtz chests it down for Alexander Isak. He rolls it out of play, and that will be that for the first half, will it? All eyes on the referee. It's a delayed flag if so. No, he wants to play a little bit longer, even though we're past our allotted minute. So Lewis Hall will throw it down the pitch, and then that's enough. Not sure why the referee wanted that thrown to be taken so badly there, but that's the end of the first half, and it's Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0.
Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right hand side, but at half time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Vert's effort low towards the right hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Asula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool, much the better side, created a few chances, most of their shots blocked by Newcastle. One good save from Hornacek from a Verts effort low towards the right-hand side, but at half-time it's 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0 at half-time. The goal came inside 5 minutes after a good clearance from Dedic from across into the Newcastle box, and a counter-attack that Osula started really drove 50 yards towards the opposite end of the pitch, then played Anthony Elanga in, who was behind Milos Kerkez, and it's a brilliant finish from Elanga to take it beyond Alisson, and that was 1-0. Liverpool much the better side. We'll leave that there as the game is back underway. Newcastle have kicked off the second half. Said possession straight away with Liverpool. Kerkez now driving towards the opposition box, but had to slow down under pressure from Elanga. Hakpo now with the ball infield. Gravenberch looking to cross the ball perhaps to far post inside. Instead goes inside to Hakpo. Cross blocked by Stewart, and it'll be the first corner of the second half inside 30 seconds.
A good start from Liverpool. Exactly the kind of start that they got in the first half, to be fair, before the sucker punch from Anthony Elanga. But they know they need to turn this one around. Let's get the season off to the right start.
It's going to be Szoboszlai again to cross from the left-hand side into the box towards the near post. It's headed upwards by Chiao. Has to be dealt with by Hornicek after another header from a Liverpool player, and now Newcastle might be at it again. Harvey Barnes and Elanga versus Kerkez and Frimpong. Wirtz is getting back to help, but Osula's also there in support. Elanga gets his head up, goes past Wirtz into the box. It's a poor pass looking for Harvey Barnes, though, from the goal scorer. Not the best effort at all to try and find his teammate. Elanga going the outside of the right boot, a little bit lazy, if you like, to try and feed in Barnes. Now Wirtz down the line for Frimpong, tries to cross. Botman, the first man, heads away though. Hall trying to progress, but has to turn back to Elanga. Now to Miley and Stewart sharing the ball, the two central midfielders for Newcastle. Up to Dedic. Dedic trying to get forward, infield to Visser. There might be an attack mountain now, space for Osula and Dedic. Osula played into the box, just led a little bit wide. Still ball with Barnes though. Barnes perhaps with a chance to cross low, he does. Away by Van Dijk, and then a shot comes in from Miley over the bar though. Nothing terrific unfortunately to write home about on that occasion, but a good attack from Newcastle.
Yeah, Visser's been pretty good in that number 10 role today. I think just slightly overhit that pass. I'm just seeing replays of the scramble right at the goal line, and he does well actually. Hornicek's having a good debut so far. Isak was about to stoop to try and head that in, and he would have been 2 yards out from goal if he managed to get connection on it, but Hornicek readjusted well to read the danger, punched it away, and then once again just straight down the other end where Newcastle have been very promising on the counter-attack. There's no ego about a performance, I think, when you set up to counter-attack in your own stadium. There's definitely nothing wrong with that, and they've done it to perfection so far.
No changes at half-time, so bringing the lineups for two sides. It's Lucas Hornicek in goal, back four of Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, Malik Chow and Amar Dedic, Sean Stewart and yellow-carded Lewis Miley in midfield, attacking three midfielders of Harvey Barnes, yellow-carded Johan Visser and Anthony Elanga, the goal scorer, William Osula up front. And for Liverpool, Alisson in goal, back four of Milos Kerkez, Virgil van Dijk, Jeremy Jacquet and Jeremy Frimpong, who's also carded, as well as Kerkez, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai behind Cody Hakpo, Florian Wirtz, Rio Ungamoa and of course Alexander Isak leading the line. Kerkez down the left hand side, just off balance, couldn't quite find a teammate with his pass. Ball chipped towards Visser on the right hand side, who's taking a really nice touch around Cody Hakpo's, chopped him down. Referee says no foul. It was actually Gravenberch who must have won enough of the ball, but it looked like he went through the back of Visser initially. So can now try and get a Liverpool attack back underway. Ungamoa now driving at Hall, wanting to go around the outside of him, just forced to check back though. He's got Frimpong and Szoboszlai for support. Szoboszlai across to Van Dijk. Gravenberch looks like he's limping at the moment. He's struggling with something. He's a Dutch midfielder. Ball's gone out of play. Choosing not to go down though, although he's looking at his bench. Get another chance to look at this challenge. Really good touch initially from Visser. Yeah, Gravenberch does win the ball.
That must be where he picks up his knock as well. He's been really good, Gravenberch, actually. I think definitely the best Liverpool player on the pitch. And it'd be a real shame for them if he had to go off, because I think he's been really pulling the strings in that midfield, winning the ball back as he just has done once again.
He must be alright. He's back challenging. The ball's been given against him, although he thought it should have been his. So it'll be a Newcastle throw on the right hand side. Free kick, in fact, I think it is. No, the referee's signalling throw in indeed. Oh, Dedic perhaps trying to be a bit cheeky. Dedic looking down the line with his throw in. Van Dijk wins the header, helped on its way by Gravenberch. Nice pass from Wirtz on the volley to Szoboszlai, who just clips it through to Frimpong, who's ahead of Barnes and seems to have the pace on the English winger. Now Rio and Gamoa, really overhit pass from the youngster there though, to try and give the ball back to Frimpong. The 17-year-old given a Premier League start, as many expected under Iraola, with of course the exit of Mohamed Salah to make way for someone else to come into the squad. They haven't signed a direct replacement for Salah, of course, but Ungamoa impressed a lot under Arne Slot last season. Trusted with that right wing position on this occasion. Look to the options on the bench. Both benches are relatively thin compared to last year. Liverpool strong in defence and midfield, but in terms of attacking threat, it's a lot of youngsters really. Trey Onyoni, James McConnell, Victor Munoz and Lewis Kumas, their attacking options. For Newcastle, it's the opposite really. Their best reinforcements are at the top of the pitch. Joe Willock, Jacob Ramsey, Jacob Murphy and Nick Voltemade, with only really Fabian Schär and Alaji Bamba as defensive and midfield options that you'd recognise. Van Dijk on halfway, looking to bring Liverpool forward. Wirtz going to take the ball away from Steer. Now Kerkez plays it to the edge of the box for Cody Hakpo, who's looking to line up space for a shot and takes it over the bar though. Very, very much a trademark move from Hakpo, trying to get room on that right foot of his, which he did. It was curling towards the top corner, but in the end over the bar. Nothing troubling Hornicek.
It's a good effort. I think it clattered a security guard actually, so his dreadlocks sort of flying in the air. Hope he's okay, but yeah, he's been lively, Gakpo. I think that the Dutch contingent, or certainly the three of Van Dijk, Gravenberch, Gakpo, have probably been the bright spots of Liverpool. I think Jeremy Frimpong struggled a little bit down that right hand side, to be completely honest. But yeah, Gakpo, he's another one whose importance just grows even more now with no Mohamed Salah. Of course, the tragic loss of Diogo Jota last year, and then Luis Diaz was allowed to move on as well. It's an area where Liverpool are much thinner than they have been in previous years. The inexperienced Ngamoa on the other side, you feel like he really needs to step up. Gakpo, have a stellar season.
Van Dijk, excuse me, on the ball from deep now. Wirtz also drops into his own half to get on the ball. He's got Kerkez as an option from wide. A lot of space now for Gravenberch, and in fact Hakpo on that left hand side, feeding the ball to Frimpong. Options in the box, Isak, but Chow first to it to clear the ball away. Xhaka will pick up on the ball. Szoboszlai fairly deep. Cody Hakpo occupying a number 10 position. He's got a bit of space and asks for the ball from his fellow Dutchman. It's a shot from Hakpo into the back of the net. It's a brilliant finish to put Liverpool on level terms from Cody Hakpo. Received the ball from Gravenberch in that number 10 position. Took his shot so strong and rolled all the way up the back of the net. Hornicek, not much he could do.
Yeah, it was a brilliant shot from Cody Gakpo. He was already threatening with that curled effort a couple of minutes ago. But this one, he's afforded too much space on the edge of the box, just rolled towards him by Gravenberch. He uses that space and time expertly. And from not much more than a standing start. He does really well to get that amount of power on it. The backlift is basically non-existent, and right into the side netting as well. Not like Alanga's, where maybe you could say that Alisson should have been covering that corner. He got it basically the only part of the goal that he could have done and scored in terms of if he was drilling it all along the ground. It's a brilliant goal from Cody Gakpo.
Double change then for Newcastle United. William Asula and Sean Stewart are off, and it looks like Jacob Ramsey and Joe Willock on. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, that is indeed correct. So Jacob Ramsey on for Sean Stewart and Joe Willock on for William Asula. So you'd think Johan Visser will certainly go up front. Ramsey will probably be the deeper of the two in midfield, with Willock playing behind Visser. Hakpo's got the ball again. He wants more, driving forward. Wirtz on the left now. Gravenberch, Szoboszlai across to Frimpong. And Gomoa with space on the right hand side, checking infield now. Onto that left foot, Szoboszlai. Now a bit more space for Frimpong. Goes inside to Ungamoa, who wants to beat a man and shoot. Does so, shoots, blocked, and not quite cleared away. Hakpo controls it in the box well, gets a shot off. Again, it's blocked, but Liverpool are piling on the pressure now.
Yeah, flick the switch, Liverpool, as they so often do. Just turning on the style now. It's just a case of battening down the hatches for 10 minutes or so for Newcastle, riding this wave of pressure.
Ball onto the right hand side once more for Wirtz. Lewis Miley marking him. Now Ungamoa with a bit of space on the edge of the area, plays it to Isak. Poor touch. A shot's going to come in from Gravenberch though, but dropped before it could make its way into the box. Tries to chop back to Isak, but can't get the ball away. Nice work from Visser to get away from Wirtz on Szoboszlai. Bit of a break on now for Newcastle. Liverpool well in numbers though, but there might be a chance into the bottom corner. It is from the substitute. It's Joe Willock with the goal. Fantastic work from Visser to drive forward with the ball, and Liverpool should have been comfortable. They had plenty of players back, but inside 3 minutes Newcastle have replied.
Well, I've just said it's about battening down the hatches for Newcastle. They're having absolutely none of that. They've been devastating on the counter-attack all day long, and that was more brilliant work from Johan Visser. He's really, in this one game, going a long way towards righting the wrongs of last season. He looks deadly in that number 10 role so far. It's a brilliant use of the former Brentford man, I think, especially if you're going to set up to counter like this. He really does Szoboszlai there. Florian Wirtz can't get back either. Thinks he's going one way and the other, and then the pass is simple to Willock, and actually his first 3 touches are all absolutely fantastic. Gets the first one, I think, well actually the first one perhaps maybe didn't go exactly how he wanted, but in one swift motion he manages to roll the ball back in front of him with his second touch to make it almost look like a skill move. I don't necessarily think that it was. And then no mistake with the finish either. Cuts inside, just curls it into that bottom right corner. We've been treated to some excellent finishing so far this afternoon by both teams. Newcastle, they look dangerous on the counter-attack, and they retake the lead.
So it's back to square one for Liverpool in terms of how they started this first half and how they've had to play most of the match. A goal down, and again it's avoidable. The goal certainly had 4 defenders back compared to the 2 attackers of Newcastle. It was a little easy for Ramsey to get away from Frimpong and then create the space to shoot around Xhaka as well, I think. They're going to try and get forward quickly now though. Gravenberch got Wirtz for space. Forward to Hakpo, but it's just overhit, and it's a good footing from Dedic. So Newcastle will resume possession, but perhaps a chance just to calm down on the ball a little. Ramsey now driving forward through midfield. Good tackle then from Xhaka. Pass forward to Ungamoa, picked up by Gravenberch. Might be some space for Wirtz now on the left, but Miley is across to cover him. Hakpo once more up against Dedic, tries to play the ball into the box. Kirkez has the ball on the corner of the box, goes out wide to play across into the box, but it's overhit away from Isak, and Ramsey can clear. Hakpo's going to line up another shot from range. That one was dreadful though, curling up and away from goal. Not terrific by his standards. 60 minutes played. It's Newcastle United 2, Liverpool 1. You can see Alexis McAllister getting ready to come on by the looks of it. I think it might be Kumas as well. Luis Kumas, or maybe Victor Munoz, also preparing themselves perhaps. Well, what an introduction from Willock to come on, change the game after the goal. Visser battling with Jacquet, asking for a handball. Jacquet's going to come away with the ball and turn away from Willock as well. And he is fouled, which Newcastle are a little bit furious about. Szoboszlai trying to take it quickly, unable to do so. Willock's claiming to the referee that there's a handball in there, but didn't look like it, to be honest. So Liverpool resume with the free kick. Now Alanga moving the ball left to Willock. Now Barnes, underlapping run from Alanga, who's played a really good ball into the box actually, but there's no one there for Newcastle, which he's slightly frustrated with. Kirkes has a chance to bring the ball away for the Reds. There's a lot of space on that left hand side where Alanga would have been, of course, as well. Back to Gravenberch. Now Hakpo. Sorry, Hakpo with a wall of black and white in front of him, really. Only Isak ahead of them in terms of the Newcastle midfield. Gravenberch wants more. Newcastle now going to make it extremely hard for Liverpool to create any chances. Good tackle in. Sees Miley come away with the ball. Now Alanga from deep, looking to drive down the right hand side. Ball forward to Miley. Might be a second pass on to Alanga, but Van Dijk does well enough to block that ball. Now Frimpong under pressure from Barnes. Barnes does well to get a foot in, but it will be a Liverpool throw. I wonder if we're going to see those Liverpool changes yet. We are indeed. It is indeed Victor Munoz and Alexis McAllister to come on. Rio Ngamoa is going to be one of the changes. You'd expect that to be for Munoz, unless of course Wirtz will move over, perhaps to the left hand side. Hakpo maybe to the right, and Szoboszlai will move up the pitch. And it's going to be Wirtz, in fact, coming off for McAllister. So two relatively like-for-like changes. You'd think Szoboszlai will play higher up than McAllister, but we'll see. Victor Munoz coming on as well for Liverpool. Wirtz not particularly had a poor game, but similarly to a lot of games last season, didn't really get involved as much as he would have liked.
No, I think it's been not quite fair to say anonymous, but it's been a little bit quiet. Still just doesn't seem entirely comfortable with his role in the Liverpool side. I think comparing to the other big money signing though, Alexander Isak, he's been completely anonymous in this game. I think with Isak, it's similar to Haaland. Obviously, it's been much greater success for Haaland at Liverpool, but he doesn't play that all-action role that he did at Newcastle. He used to always be involved down the flanks. We just don't see him anywhere other than poaching the area anymore, and I don't think that's necessarily his strength as an attacker. I'm thinking back about that amazing assist against Everton where he ran 40, 50 yards with the ball, just gliding past people. We just don't see him in those pockets anymore.
Speaking of the devil, here he is on the ball. That's a great tackle in, but might be Victor Munoz to get on the end of it. He's gone down in the box. Referee's given a yellow card to Jacob Ramsey, who didn't make that challenge in the box. He's adjudged to have fouled Alexander Isak, which I must admit is a bit of a surprise to me. Van Dijk towards the referee. Yeah, it's a late challenge. I mean, did he not win the ball, Ramsey?
It looked like Ramsey sort of played an inadvertent through ball to the man in the box, Munoz, if anything. So yeah, not necessarily convinced that was a foul.
Yellow card then for Ramsey, who clearly didn't get enough of the ball according to Stuart Atwell. So it'll be a free kick for Liverpool. No foul on Victor Munoz. Looked like a coming together more than anything. Szoboszlai stood over this one again. It's the third from similar territory in this match for Liverpool. I want a good delivery. A bit of a higher line from Newcastle. Players in the box, of course, who will be interested. Ball goes towards Gravenberch. Missed. Van Dijk inadvertently sends it goalwards. Not sure he meant it particularly, but straight into the hands of Hornacek, who will take a bit of time before throwing it out to Lewis Hall on the left hand side, who can't really control. I think Hall's saying that he didn't really want that ball, to be honest. 65 minutes played. Newcastle United 2, Liverpool 1. Ball across to Kerkez from deep, trying to get Liverpool into the midfield third. Bit of a physical battle between Szoboszlai and Miley. Eventually sees Liverpool come away with the ball. Cody Gakpo driving forward into the box now. What's he going to do? Checks back onto his right foot. Chow's allowed to get a tackle in. Good defending, you have to say, from the Liverpool captain, as Botman was sold ever so slightly by Gakpo checking back on his right foot. Poor clearance from Newcastle sees Frimpong get on the ball. Now McAllister, who wants to be involved. Victor Munoz from the right hand side. What can he do? Driving at Hall, wants to get a cross in. Bounces back towards Munoz. Maybe another chance to get the ball in, but just checks back once more. Into the box now for Isak, who couldn't quite get a good connection with the ball. Visser will now try and drive away for Newcastle, as we've seen him do once or twice before. He's got support in Elanga on the right hand side. It's a two-man attack now at the moment for Newcastle. Elanga forced to check back. Option in midfield is Ramsey across to Barnes. He might think about taking on Gravenberch and shooting, but instead goes back to Ramsey. Now Willock on the left hand side, looking to get into the box. Back to Ramsey. Hall. Ramsey once more retreating. Now Miley. He drives past Szoboszlai. It's a nice ball down to Hall, as well as players in the box. Visser doesn't get any good contact on it. Should have done much better with that. He should have scored, really, Johan Visser. Still alive with Elanga, though. Thinks about getting the cross in. He's got Dedic for support. Dedic looking to take on Cody Gakpo. Now Miley under pressure from Szoboszlai. Back to Elanga. Thinks about the shot from range. Does so. It's saved by Alisson. Newcastle. It's a good attack, and I think he should have ended with the ball on the back of the net.
Yeah, Visser came so close. He just almost didn't put enough on it.
Yeah, almost pulled out of it by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's not great centre forward play from Visser. So looked much more comfortable in that 10 role before. It's kind of the first time he's been in one of those positions in and around the 6-yard box. He didn't handle it particularly well, but still certainly had a very impressive game for Liverpool. I think Gakpo a few minutes ago should have just been taking that shot on his left foot. I know he loves to cut inside, and he did sell Botman a little bit, but it didn't open up at all for him on the right hand side. He should have just drilled it with the left boot.
Now Munoz, McAllister back to the Spanish winger, who will get the ball into the box. Szoboszlai's there, interested in it. Down to Gakpo, laid off to Isak, who sends one over the bar. It's his first real chance of the match, to be honest. Over the bar it goes from the ex-Newcastle striker. Not an ideal finish from Liverpool's number 9. A lot of time and space to think about it, to be honest. It's a really poor effort from 15 or so yards out. Has to be doing better than that. Used to scoring in that goal, no doubt. But Newcastle now's the chance to resume with a free kick. Both sides have used 2 substitutes, but you wonder perhaps when and in what way more will be used. Down the line for Elanga, who's got to the ball ahead of Kerkez. Kerkez infield to Ramsey. Willock goes for the cross, but that'll go out seemingly for a corner as McAllister blocks the ball. And there we are. We're now going to have another change. So it's another new centre half for Liverpool coming on, and one coming off. Ronald Araujo on loan from Barcelona, coming on for Jeremy Jacquet. So a straight swap at the back. Perhaps a sign that Ariola wants his team to be a bit more progressive from the from the back. One of the top defenders in La Liga, Araujo, since his move to Barcelona. Took 3 months out for mental health reasons last season. Never really broke back into the Barcelona side, so a loan move that benefits him and Liverpool. Ball into the box then from Ramsey, and then a shot comes in from the edge of the area. It was Willock, in fact, who crossed the ball in, punched away by Alisson, and a shot from Ramsey from the edge of the area goes wide on the volley, first time. Never really going to challenge the keeper. And with that, 70 minutes played, it's still Newcastle 2, Liverpool 1, and to see us through to full time will be Charlie.
Thanks, Kieran. Newcastle still in the attack. Down the right hand side with Willock. He's getting in a bit of a scrap with fellow substitute Alexis McAllister. He's not very happy that he wasn't given the foul there, but Virgil van Dijk trying to help him to his feet, politely saying get on with it. He's still down on the ground as Liverpool resume play. Back with Van Dijk now to Araujo. His first touches in the Premier League. He's off to Gravenberch, who once again drives forwards. Jeremy Frimpong back to Araujo. Alisson to Van Dijk. Both of these teams with good recent records in opening days. Newcastle unbeaten in 4 since they lost to West Ham in 2021. But Liverpool are the kings of the first day. They've unbeaten in the last 13 seasons on the opening day. Won 10, drawn 3. This, if it stays like this, would be their first defeat since West Brom 2012-13. They lost 3-0 on that occasion. It's the longest ongoing run, and the longest since Chelsea went 18 seasons without losing their opener between 99 and 2016. It's pretty remarkable. Lewis Hall, a little bit of space, drives into it. He's got the new man Munoz tracking him down. Goes back to Jacob Ramsey. Hall, nice interplay with Harvey Barnes on the left hand side. He tries to flick through Joe Willock. It's cut out though. And Gravenberch with more good work in midfield there. Releases Munoz, driving forwards. He's got Frimpong on the outside, but he cuts inside instead. Finds Szoboszlai. Good touch. I think he's fouled in the process, but still manages to get it through. Kerkez swung in. And it was just a little bit too close to the goal itself to be a good cross for Alexander Isak, but that was a cutting move. That was the kind of incisive play in transition that we haven't really seen from Liverpool today.
Yeah, we've not seen it yet, that's for sure. In the opening 70 minutes, it was good, it was quick, it was sharp. Good use of advantage as well, but Kerkez with a poor delivery. He said Isak's not really been in the game, but he's not had much to feed off. I mean, it's up to him whether he wants to drop deeper to get on the ball. Can only assume that tactically he's been told not to do that. But yeah, some of the service to him could do with improving.
Szoboszlai on the edge of the box, tries a couple of step overs, attempts to squeeze it through to Gravenberch, but it's cut out. Back with Ronald Araujo. He's jogging forwards on the ball, finds McAllister and turns, plays it to Szoboszlai. Van Dijk to Araujo. Plenty of touches already for the Uruguayan. Played in from Frimpong to Gravenberch, back to Frimpong. And it's a little bit under hit, and Johan Wissa putting in the hard yards there, trying to get on the end of that back pass, but Alisson, as always, alive to the danger, cuts it out. Now Munoz on the right hand side declines across. Said gets it to Frimpong. Gravenberch back to Munoz. Will he cross it in this time? No, he tries to play Frimpong through. It's way too much on that one. Going to be a goal kick for Newcastle. Kieran, before this one, Newcastle hadn't kept, well, including this one, this will now be the 16th game without a clean sheet. As we see, Murphy's ready to come on. But Would you say that this is an improved defensive performance from Newcastle compared to what we saw last season?
Yeah, without doubt, to be honest. I think they've been terrific defending Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool haven't been anything special, but they've been persistent, to say the least, with their attacks coming forward. I think Newcastle have certainly been more impressive at one end of the pitch than the other. But I think they defended resolutely. I mean, the goal is avoidable. Hackpo was in quite a lot of space in terms of the shot. Not much that can be done about that. But I think Newcastle will want to look at how Hackpo was given so much space in a relatively attacking position of the pitch. But at the end of the day, clean sheets don't win you matches, but goals do. There's 2 more changes for Newcastle now as well. Anthony Elanga's going to make way for Jacob Murphy on the right hand side, and new man Bamba is also coming on. Just wait to find out how for Lewis Miley in midfield.
Yeah, it was on a yellow Lewis Miley, so it's probably sensible. And it is Aladji Bamba, the Frenchman, number 8 on his back, who will make his way onto the pitch. Swung in the free kick for Newcastle, doesn't beat the first man. Aladji Bamba, £30 million signing from Monaco, to go along with Bazuma Traore, Amar Dedic, Lucas Hornicek, Stefan Steyer and Ewan Jowan. So 4 of the new signings have made their way into the pitch. Now Whistler's through, but he just takes a little bit of a heavy touch. It was a difficult opportunity for him. It was flicked on by Barnes with not much time for him to react, and he could only get a shoulder to it into the arms of Alisson.
Not like a handball anyway, to be honest. Definitely came off the top of his arm, but I think he was offside. But Alisson allowed to resume.
It's been a good start for all 3 of the starters that are summer acquisitions, I would say, for Newcastle. Hornicek, Dedic, Steyer, all been impressive. Moving forwards now, Gravenberch. Yeah, it's been a rare bright spark for Liverpool. Frimpong tries to get the ball in, doesn't manage, but header comes across anyway from Frimpong. Munoz tried to stab it towards goal, but deflected away by Malik Chor. It does look like it will be 13 minutes plus stoppage time of defending for Newcastle. They have a lead to defend. It did bounce off the arm of Chor, just seen on a replay there, but certainly wasn't in an unnatural position, and he also definitely didn't have time to move it out of the way. Gravenberch, just after I've been praising him, he's going to come off. Lewis Kumas, the young Welshman, is on in his place, and he's straight into the box for what looks like it's going to be Liverpool's first Ronald Araujo long throw. Launches it in towards the near post. Newcastle head gets to it first, and they start to run it away despite McAllister's attempts. McAllister's actually stolen in to try and win the ball back, and he's won a free kick off Jacob Murphy on the edge of the area. He's going to be booked as well, the substitute. So after looking like they're about to come away with the ball, they've actually given away a free kick in quite a dangerous position.
Yeah, just late to the ball on the top of the ankle of McAllister. A little bit of a painful one. Didn't look certainly accidental from Murphy, but still painful and definitely a yellow card nonetheless.
Szoboszlai once again is stood over it. It's got Virgil van Dijk chatting to him. Can't imagine that's who he's in competition for. It's more of a tactical discussion with the captain. Van Dijk does step away back into his defensive role. Szoboszlai, it's a pretty populated wall that looks to be inching forwards. I'm pretty sure I can make out that they're in front of the line, and they do hit the wall. The ball's still bouncing around in the area. Shot comes in from McAllister, is blocked, but then Kumas at the back post. I don't know whether a foul or offside had already been given there, but Kumas did have an opportunity regardless. Yeah, I think looking like Araujo just nudged Harvey Barnes, not much in it. But Kumas might not have counted, but it was an opportunity for the youngster and he skied it.
Yeah, not a great tempting goal from about 8 yards for Kumas, but the ball had gone already. The whistle had gone already, I should say.
And cleared away by Hornicek from the free kick. So trying to come away with it now, battling. Kumas sprinting forwards, trying to put Chior under pressure. Chior tries to block him off. Hornicek pumps it downfield and manages to pick out Johan Wisser, but it's been called offside by the linesman on the far side. Virgil van Dijk on the ball. Allison back to Van Dijk. Sobersite. Araujo planted the ball on his debut so far. Van Dijk finds Kerkez. Tries to play a 1-2 as Kerkez with Cody Gakpo. He's unable to do so. Liverpool's next game after this one is at home to Nottingham Forest. It's next Saturday, the afternoon kickoff. Newcastle. As the ball is back in with Joe Willock, but he can't win it in midfield. It's back to Allison. Newcastle's next game is against Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League, away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, also on Saturday the 29th. That's the evening kickoff. Dispossessed there quite easily. McAllister in midfield gets away with it as Newcastle look to come forward again. He's released Frimpong down the right hand side. He's got Munoz with him. Munoz tries to go around the outside. And I've been critical of Cody Gakpo for trying to cut inside all the time, but it seems like Munoz on the other side is always looking to go on the outside, or at least on the basis of this cameo performance.
Yeah, certainly. Looks definitely prefers the ball on his right foot. That's for sure. And I think Hall's had a good game there. You must mention. Did well against Ungamoa, who's obviously sharp and quick, and Munoz has come on fresh legs, and I think Hall's dealt with him really well, as well as Frimpong, don't forget, who's one of the quickest players in the division as well. Allison, a bit of urgency to his play now. He's just drifted outside of his box with the ball, trying to push his team up the field. Not long now, less than 7 minutes before the board goes up. It's drifted out to Kerkez on the left, forward to Gakpo. He's moving inwards, doubles back on himself this time and finds Kerkez. Back to Gakpo, Van Dijk to Araujo. Soboslai. Araujo just holding their shape really well now. Newcastle, not much of a press to speak of. This is the furthest man forward, and he's kind of halfway inside his own half at this point. McAllister back to Van Dijk. Araujo, Soboslai. A lot of possession in that area for Liverpool, but not much more yet. Frimpong beats his man, gets in a good cross. Isak with the header, and that is probably the best opportunity that Alexander Isak has had so far, and he couldn't rise above the ball, and in the end just presented a tame header to Hornicek in the Newcastle goal. Yeah, indeed, simple one really for Hornicek in the end. After Isak's header came in, but a save he had to make nonetheless. So good work from the goalkeeper.
Van Dijk tries an ambitious cross-field pass. He puts way too much on it. Cody Gakpo would have had to be twice his height and probably a bit more to bring that one down. We see a forlorn-looking Rio Ngamoa on the bench. It's not gone how he would have hoped at the start of his season. Ball's flicked over the top. Is Johan Witter through here? He takes a couple of touches, gets the shot away. It's a good save from Alisson. Waiting to see if the offside flag went up, but it has stayed down. This is another opportunity, and now it's all the way to Munoz on the other end of the pitch. Can he get a shot away? He can, but it's a really good block from Botman. Munoz chasing after it, with Hall making a nuisance of himself. Munoz does manage to get across to Kumas. Leaves it for McAllister. Now to Kirkes. Two good opportunities there in the space of maybe 20-30 seconds. It's just the kind of end-to-end game it's been. Both teams good in transition, but no doubt, at least in this game, that Newcastle have been better. Rolled out to Cody Gakpo, cuts inside, gets a cross into the back post. Munoz just with the little shove, destabilising Botman before he went to jump to that one. It was actually Lewis Hall who, as Kieran said, has had an excellent game back there at left back. Dealt with Ngamoa, Frimpong and Munoz with a plumb. There's been nothing Liverpool could throw at him down that right hand side that he wasn't equal to. But maybe with Frimpong, he missed so much of last season through injury, and Ngamoa, he's still very raw. I don't think we necessarily saw a fully functioning right side for Liverpool today.
No, not particularly, to be honest. So Frimpong not been terrific in attacking areas. Played a few games last season, of course, on that right wing position. Ngamoa, so it's going to be tough to live up to to fill the boots of Salah, but so far I think he's shown good glimpses on Ngamoa.
Kumas tries to release Kirkes. He's well marshalled out by Malachor there. Good defending. Just saw a graphic which read Liverpool after 85 minutes, the most goals last season, first in the division. 13-11 conceded by Newcastle in that same time period, which was the third worst in the division. So don't switch off just yet. There could be another twist in the tail. Araujo heads forwards into midfield. Kumas been lively since he came on, herring down the right hand side, manages to find Frimpong. It's just a little bit wild every time Frimpong gets the ball. He loses control of it so often. Sometimes his running can just look a little bit scattergun. Back with Araujo again. Soboslai turns. Willock, brilliant defending. Good work from the goal scorer. He gets it back. Now he can drive forward with the ball at feet as he loves to do. Sees off Frimpong. He's off to Harvey Barnes. Jacob Murphy on the right hand side. Standing up Kirkes, goes around the outside, gets a good ball in. There was just no one there at the back post to poke it in. There was Willock and Visser around the 6-yard box. I think they're just saying that should have come a little bit closer, but to be fair, they were covered off by 3 Liverpool defenders. Maybe someone just needed to be a bit braver attacking that back post.
Yeah, it wasn't brilliant in terms of any desire to get on the ball. It's the second time it's happened now after Elanga had a chance from the other side too.
Dedic standing on the ball. There's a Newcastle player down up there. I think it's Jacob Murphy, but he gets back to his feet. Hornicek pumps the ball forwards. Van Dijk will saunter out and deal with that one easily. Cody Gakpo bites off a little bit more than he could chew there. Gives the ball away. Joe Willock. He's got another opportunity on the transition. Step over, moves it onto the left foot. Good tackle by Araujo. Shot comes in from Harvey Barnes. Johan Wissa will pick up the pieces. Virgil van Dijk will shepherd it away for a throw. And once again, Wissa's getting really stuck in, enjoying, getting the crowd excited. So a little bit of cramp for the debutant Amar Dedic, 24-year-old Bosnian. One of the few that have made a promising start to life at St James's Park today. Yellow card is out, but we haven't had it confirmed who received it. Johan Wissa, just looking at his stats for the day, he's actually done really well defensively. Duels won, tackles won. It's just been a real nuisance up there. And it's Virgil van Dijk who got in the box, which isn't always the most common of sights. He's not had a game to remember necessarily. Here comes Kumas, barrelling down the left-hand side for Liverpool. Can he get a shot away? He's blocked by Dedic. He looks like he's going down with a bit of cramp again. Helped up to his feet. Kumas, he's definitely been driving forwards. A little bit of impetus to this attack for Liverpool. 5 minutes, by the way, added time. We've already had one of them. Dominic Szoboszlai out to take the corner on the right hand side. Now or never for Liverpool, really. It's a good delivery, punched away by Lucas Hornacek. Out to Jeremy Frimpong. Tries to stand up his mind, gets a shot away. Not sure that was the option. Blocked comfortably. Jacob Murphy will try and take it past him. He's not been able to, though, and it'd be a throw-in for Liverpool, which Frimpong wants to take. Milos Kerkez inside the centre circle. Dominic Szoboszlai. Cody Gakpo standing up Dedic. Back to Szoboszlai. Gakpo drifts it into the back post. Van Dijk is up there lurking. It was cut out by Botman before it could get to him. Szoboszlai back to Gakpo, driving forwards. Dedic does well with him there, though. Gets his body in between man and ball and wins the foul.
Yeah, it's good work from Dedic. Gakpo trying to go on the outside, which was the wrong decision, really. Dedic hadn't committed in any way, shape or form either. So a bit rash from Gakpo on that occasion. Looks like his first match as Liverpool boss is going to end in a loss. Just over 2 minutes left of the 5 added.
Yellow card for Lucas Hornacek there. Delaying the restart, I imagine. Yeah, looks like it'd been an opening day defeat for Antonio Iraola, and the first opening day defeat in 14 attempts for Liverpool. Iraola and Liverpool won just 2 of their 5 pre-season games as well, so it's not been a completely rosy start to life on Merseyside. Back to Araujo. Szoboszlai. Kerkez. Can he swing one last ball in? Finds Gakpo. Jacob Murphy's back there doing his defensive work. Gakpo cuts inside, tries to cross it. Cut out by the first man. Araujo takes a looping ball down well. Finds Frimpong. It's his turn to try and get the cross in, but he's a lot of fancy footwork, not really getting him anywhere. Harvey Barnes can't win the ball back, but he can win a foul. Frimpong's not happy. He's saying no, miking his finger. But once again, the Dutch right back just taking too long on the ball. Newcastle defending resolutely. Looks like we're going to see Fabian Schär for the last minute or so, swapping out for Johan Wissa. I'm sure we'll receive a good reception from the St James's Park faithful. All the eggs in one basket then. It's the Tuchel approach. I'm sure he'd bring on Dan Burn if he wasn't up in the stands with a tracksuit. Matthias Jassel has just given a fantastic reception to Johan Wissa. He's absolutely thrilled with what he's seen from the Congolese international, and he's also getting a high five from everyone on the bench. Pumped forward by Lucas Hornicek. We've got just 9 minutes to go, 9 seconds to go now, sorry. Can Liverpool get one last attack in? Milos Kerkez has the ball. He launches it forwards. All eyes on the referee, I'm sure, in St James's Park. It does fall for Munoz, and he drifts into the box. He wants a penalty. Liverpool arms are up everywhere. And it has not been... Has he given it?
He's given a penalty.
Been given. Wow. I'll have to see that one again. It's Lewis Hall, who we've praised so highly. The penalty, if it is given, will surely be the last kick of the game. There is knee-to-knee contact between Hall and Munoz without the ball being won. It's minimal. It has been given. VAR will check it, but I doubt they'll overturn the referee's verdict on this one. It's definitely not a clear and obvious error. No, some Newcastle fans will be aggrieved, no doubt. It looks like being a lifeline for Liverpool to extend this unbeaten run. And the first game of seasons. And not happy, Newcastle. Of course, emotions can be running high in a situation like this. No Mohamed Salah. He was never a perfect penalty taker, but he did score lots of them for Liverpool. Cody Gakpo has the ball in hand, but of course we know that doesn't mean anything these days. Probably makes it more likely that he's not taking it if he's the one holding it. It was Munoz, the new signing, who won the penalty. Gakpo is still stood with the ball. Alexander Isak is having his shirt tugged. They'll get into position. Jeremy Frimpong still arguing about something. There's pushes and shoves with Cody Gakpo and Jacob Murphy. Cody Gakpo still holding the ball. And Szoboszlai wandering over now. He does take it off Gakpo. It looks like it's going to be the Hungarian. Gakpo's not leaving though. He's gone up to talk to Lucas Hornicek. It is Dominic Szoboszlai. He's been solid from set pieces all day. This is a different kind of pressure. Can he snatch a 98th minute equaliser for his side? Salvage their opening day of the Premier League season. Szoboszlai against the debutant Lucas Hornicek. He's going for a short run up. 2 or 3 steps. Still not taking it. It's been an almighty delay. It's been a few minutes since the penalty was awarded now. Tick over into the 99th. Szoboszlai runs up and he buries it into the top left corner. That is a superb penalty. It'll surely be the end of the game. A cool, composed celebration from Szoboszlai. Lewis Hall has his head in his hands. He knows he's cost his team there after an excellent 96 minutes of football from the left back. Just a slightly clumsy challenge, fine margins, and costs a opening day win for Matthias Jassel and Newcastle. It's a brilliant penalty.
Yeah, really good penalty from Szoboszlai into the roof of the net. Impressive. Hornicek went the right way but couldn't get near it, and that will be that, you think. Point shared in the northeast of England. I think the penalty is harsh, but ultimately probably the fair result. Liverpool, been the better side. I mean, you could argue they haven't generated anywhere near enough chances, which might be fair, but Newcastle haven't either. 2 crosses gone a-begging, but it does finish at St James's Park. It's a painful end to Matthias Jaisler's first Premier League match, and it does finish Newcastle United 2, Liverpool 2.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck.